Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Volume 9 coverage of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess manga. And here we are, finally entering the realm of Twilight, the final dungeon before we went to face Ganondorf in Hyrule Castle. Now, I will say this, the end game of Twilight Princess goes through a lot of changes, well, with the way that they handle the realm of Twilight and the way that they handle Hyrule Castle. And a lot of these changes have to do with the fact that Link has a backstory now. We're going to see some involvement of other characters, so let's get started! This volume starts out the exact same way as the conversation before entering the realm of Twilight, with Midna telling her story to Link about how this form that she's been in, this imp, is a curse by Zant. And how the only thing she wanted was revenge. And as this story is being told to Link, she tells him about the fact that they believed heroes were not like humans, that they would become holy beasts. So when she saw Link transform into a wolf, that's what who she decided to work with. And that was how she was going to get revenge against Zant. Again, the same conversation we had in Twilight Princess's game. What's different is Link does not see the imp in front of him. He instead sees a woman with pale blue skin. And she simply tells him that the true and fearful evil, the enemy that you should destroy, is me. But Link's only response is to grab her and pull her into a hug. Or she just disappears in his arms, with him beforehand declaring that he will save her from that darkness. And he's left confused, thinking it was a dream or hallucination, before he realizes Midna is missing. And Midna appears, like, just simply telling him that he isn't some lost child, that she's not going to disappear, that shall we go, partner? And as Link gets up and walks behind her, he says that he just says to himself that he feels like he's seen her somewhere before. And how much of that story was told to him by Midna, and how much of it was told to him by the woman with the pale blue skin. Now, he has seen that woman twice before at this point. Once was in Kakariko Village, and once was in his dream when he first saw the Golden Wolf. We know who she is as readers, especially those of us who have played Twilight Princess. But those of you who are only watching the manga videos or only reading the manga, well, actually, no, you already know who that is because they told you in Chapter 1. Yeah, I don't know still how I feel about them revealing that in Chapter 1, but I'll be honest, it is done really well to show that Link can see beyond the curse. Or at least that's how I interpret it. But we head back to the Arbiter's Ground, where the mirror is fixed again. And Midna simply tells Link that it's a peaceful place. It's a peaceful, beautiful place, like this world when it's lit by sunlight. Talk about the realm of Twilight being a beautiful place, that the people do not want this. This is all just the decision of a madman. And as they go through, the sages appear again and simply say, "Please forgive our hubris, Princess of Twilight." As we finally enter the Twilight realm, Link just simply asks Midna, "So this is what your home looks like?" And they set off. As they set off, though, Zant feels Midna has finally entered the realm of Twilight. Now, I haven't talked about this much because it really hasn't come up yet. And that is, Zant has actually gone through a bit of a change compared to how he is in the game. And that is why he has the obsession with Midna. And we can kind of see it a little bit forming here, where he gets very angry at Link still traveling with her was because of the fact, unlike in the game, well, he already knows actually. He did not know until he saw Link again in the Black Insanity that he regained human form. He did not know that Link had gone over the Shadow Crystal. Zant just didn't really talk about it. He still does his whole little shtick where, you know, he does the weird poses, makes the weird noises. Zant is still a bit of a zany character. Like, he's a silly villain, but he's a lot more disturbed in the manga, if I'm going to be honest. But we'll get to that when we actually get to his past. Minda is back with Link and Minda. She's actually going through the same bit she went through in the game, where she asked Link to hide in his shadow, as she did not think the people of the realm of Twilight wanted to see her, and especially not like that. But big difference from the game and the manga is, unlike in the game where she decided to hide in Link's shadow, in this one she instead decides to face her people. Link offers to let her hide in his shadow as usual. And she says if it gets too much she'll do it, but instead she leads Link to the palace. But as they turn around, they see the people of the realm of Twilight. Link actually draws his sword ready to attack before Minda stops him. And she apologizes to the people. One of them actually kind of like wiggles its head and guides Link somewhere. Minda's not sure if it's a trap or not. Link says if it is, that they will deal with it. As they're going through the palace, being led by this Twilight citizen, Link asks Minda to tell him about Zant's origin. How did he get like this? And she explains that Zant was one of her father's advisors and that he was very intelligent. He was actually her tutor. But she didn't like him very much because of the fact that to her, it just seemed like Zant was fawning. And that if he thought he was nearly perfect, if anything went wrong, he would throw into a tantrum, which we see in the game, actually. We don't really get to see it until the boss fight, but apparently in manga they establish that he's always been like this. She also kind of teased him about his ridiculous personality, kind of saying to herself that maybe she was a little too mean. But as they keep going, they see the fog of shadow, and as Link goes to swing at it, he actually turns into the wolf. And this is actually a really interesting panel line out because of the fact we see Link swing the sword in one panel, before the next one he's biting one as a wolf, not even realizing he changed forms. Which establishes that Link has gotten so used to transitioning between wolf and human that it's just second nature to him. And he has the explanation to him about, you know, that this fog is the shadow crystals, that as long as he's in them, he cannot be in a body made of, well, body from the world of light, turning him back into the wolf. And Minna points out once it's gone, he'll be able to return to his human form, and she doesn't really mind because it's been a while since she's gotten to ride on his back. And then Minna proceeds to continue on with Zant's story, explaining the fact that Zant was actually a candidate to be the next ruler because of the fact that there was a council that determines who rules, and Zant was on there on pretty much the second choice once her father passed. And they decided not to go with Zant though because of the fact they didn't trust his desire for power, and he still coveted the throne. So he thought of only one other way to get the throne, and that was he proposed marriage to Minda. She, of course, said no. But they don't really have any... Link has no time to dwell on that, as they've reached their destination, which is the souls. The same orbs we collected back in the game. Though, unlike in the game where they were split between two different areas of the Twilight Palace, they are in one room. And they don't really do anything dragging it out here. Instead, the souls shine on the Master Sword, immediately turning Link back from wolf form into human form. And Minda points out that the guardians of the Twilight Realm are on their side to go stop Zant. Link decides... Oh, Link gives the sword a couple more swings, and as this is going on, Zant is kind of still having his little freak out, and then he just stops. He's like, "But why am I panicking? What am I afraid of? He's the king of the Twilight Realm. He can stop some human. And his magic is powerful, and he can crush and transform all who oppose him." As Link and Minda walk up to challenge him. Minda and Link finally confronting Zant on the throne. He's just left there looking at them, simply saying he's surprised Minda has returned. Link tells him to get off the throne, that it belongs to Minda, and Zant's only response is to ignore Link, declaring how dare he speak to a king that way. Still acting like, even though he's a false king, acting like he's Link's better. And basically goes through this whole thing, how he served the royal family, how they could have been doing so much more to try to take over the realm of light, to get their revenge. And that it was the elders' fault for not recognizing him as king. And that him tutoring Minna, being around her, that she should have been kinder to him, showed him a little favor. And he decided to rule her and everyone else in the royal instead, because that is the only way he could have her. And Minda's only response on this is just asking her if that transforming her into this imp form was some expression of love, and that she will not accept that. That is just more of Zant's ego. And Zant's response is to scream, throw his temper tantrum, and then to scream that he's going to send them both to hell, and the fight begins. And immediately trying to shoot them, with Link deflecting the blade and Minda actually appearing to contain the energy within the Master Sword. And Link actually proceeds to cut through his magic, confusing Zant, declaring that you repelled my magic. How can this be? Link telling him that the power of the souls resides in the Master Sword. And this angers Zant to no end, because of the fact that it is the one power in the realm of Twilight he has not been able to touch, and that resides in the Master Sword. And this proceeds to make him just even more upset, as he proceeds to scream more and scream "Die Demon" to Link, before going off and firing a barrage of magical blasts. Link proceeds to counter all of them, fighting his way through, declaring that he's encountered and conquered death. He has beaten his doubts and fears, and that he will prove himself. As he points the blade at Zant, he reminds him of the last words he heard from Zant. "Just another pitiful human. That is what you called me then. So what are you afraid of?" And next thing you know, Zant pulls out the scimitars, spins, creates the magical illusions we saw in the game, but then he gets to play dirty. He summons some of the people of the realm of Twilight, and Minna recognizes one of them as the head librarian. She sees these people not as these monstrous forms, but as her people. And the only thing that they are saying is, "Zant, great king, is a god. We are happy. We are happily. We are." But as this one that she's talking to looks at her, it simply says, "I'm glad you became our leader mid," before twisting and mutating even further, leading Minna to simply shout for this to stop, and for everyone to forget about it. Do not think. Link is still fighting his way through the illusions, screaming that Zant is nothing but a coward, nothing but tricks. Stop running. As he's doing this, he feels a shock almost from the Master Sword itself. He realizes that he needs to stop. He needs to calm and focus. Like a pond without a ripple. And as he does this, he slices the sword downward, cutting Zant's helmet, breaking his magic barrier. During this, we also see a brief flash of the hero's shade, almost as if the hero of time is guiding Link. And Link's only response to him is, you aren't big or opposing, you wear a steel mask just to look tough. You are a tiny coward. Almost, which is this great little thing between Zant and Link in the manga. That there's this parallel, that they both start in this state where they are both terrified of something. Where Zant sees the conquered with power and just demanding all this stuff. Link faced his problems, he faced his fears, he faced his trials, and he came out on top to become the hero of Twilight. Zant is not happy hearing this. He proceeds just to start ranting at Link, saying that he hates him, that he's self-righteous, that he could not conceive of his suffering, his resentment, that Link has never lost anything, which we know is bullshit, because Link is definitely Link's whole first arc had to deal with him coming to terms about the village, well, the town he destroyed. And he basically just screams at Zant, what the hell does he know about real suffering, before punching him. No sword, no shield, none of that. He just grabs Zant and decks him. And this punch is actually what causes the fused shadows to appear and return to Midna. And Link tells him flat out that true goodness is rare. That sometimes that people are ugly, weak, and they can give in and nearly break. He's done it. That was the lesson he learned from Dark Link. But Link has reached the conclusion that he doesn't believe himself. He believes in guiding principles. Even if everyone in the world despised and doubted him, those principles would still be worth believing in. That is his belief. He says this to Zant, and Zant's only reaction is to look at him, look away, run up, sit back on the throne, and tell him that he's trying to steal the throne through trickery. That the throne belongs to him, that it was given to him by his god Ganondorf. And Min just screams at him like, what you call a god is just the Demon King Ganondorf. He's using you. And this ends the same exact way it does in the game, with Minda losing control of her magic and impaling Zant and causing him to explode. Actually terrifying Minda because of the fact, in this version, she only had a little bit of power, and she thought she used it all, and Link just reminds her, like, maybe it's the fused shadows, and this was just a portion of the power, and like Minda is terrified, but Link manages to calm her down, tell her, we need to get back to Hyrule, we have to deal with Ganondorf. And Midna's response is just simply, there's something I should do here. Midna tells Link that they must return what was taken, or guiding him back to the center of the Twilight Palace, the same place where we came through the Mirror of Twilight in the game. The people of the Realm of Twilight have turned back to normal, all except for Midna, leading them to ask, we've all returned to our form, so why haven't you? And she's actually not even sure that she'll ever be able to return, because in the game we had the clarification that it was Ganondorf's magic, that when he was defeated, she'd return to normal. We do not have that guarantee in the manga, but she simply asks them, I may be like this for the rest of my life, can you still think of me as your leader? And they just simply tell her that the sovereign leader of the Twilight Realm is her. Which is the extra, like, you know, boost Midna needed. She needed it after all this. And after that little confidence boost, she tells them that she's going to return to the world of light with Link to take care of Ganondorf. And they ask, like, one of the others simply asks, why? You are our queen. Why do you need to go back to the realm of light? Defeating Zant was your job. Well, not your job, was the end of your duty when it came to Demon King Ganondorf. The Demon King is the realm of light's problem. Why do you need to deal with it? And Midna reveals that she's learned the truth about the realm of Twilight and the realm of light, that they are two sides of the same coin, that for them to exist in harmony, they have to stop Ganondorf. Both worlds must be at peace. And she says that her feelings on the realm of light have changed with traveling with Link, but there's also one more person in the realm of light that she must save, the one who sacrificed herself to save her. And she's referring to Princess Zelda. And that is what convinces the others. If there was them saying that if there is someone who saved you and you owe your life to, then we must all do our utmost for that person. And Midna, before they leave, asks, several seasons ago, a city disappeared from the world of light. And she asks them, what happened to Link's town? Or Link's city, the one he came from. Same one that appeared when Link pulled the sword. And none of them know anything except for the head librarian, who says that they should have told her, but the palace gardener says that the survivors of that city are living in a forest to the east. The gardener unfortunately did not survive the transformation, as he was already frail and old, so the transformation was just too much for him. He disappeared. But he knows where it is, and as he guides them, it is explained that the previous ruler, Midna's father, declared that anyone who came from the world of light, everyone that they were sending after the people of Twilight came here were all criminals and monsters who spread poison in the Twilight realm. So the Lake King ordered the elimination of anyone who appeared from the world of light. Keep in mind, the only people who have been appearing up to this point were people who were tossed into the Mirror of Twilight from the Arbiter's grounds, which is some of the worst criminals in Hyrule, until they were forced to stop after Ganondorf. And Ganondorf ended up being such a problem that the Hero of Time came here. As Link is traveling, they find a castle wall with the family crest of the mayor of his old village. But Link doesn't get to react much as he looks up and sees an archer pointing an arrow at him. This archer is revealed to be Darpa, his friend from the flashback all the way back in Chapter 1. And Link is he is so happy to see him again. And he tells him that he's been looking for him, that he's alive, and his response is, you sent us to this backwards world looking at, and went on your merry way. He looks at him with a look of anger for a moment before bursting out laughing, revealing that he was actually playing a prank on Link. And that it's not just him, that he's now actually in charge of the squad that they were all, of a squad made up of all of his friends from when he trained in the town. And they barely recognize him, that he's got shield and armor, he's bulked up, and that he should be the captain of the knights. And Link's just like, nah, I'm still learning. And in response, Darpa reveals that he's the commander of the guard, and that the other two are his subordinates now, that he's some big success and that he outranks Link. And Link's just like, thinks of, do I reveal that I'm a chosen hero by the goddess? And as they turn around to head into town, Link reveals that he wants him to meet someone, that this is Midna, ruler of the realm of Twilight. And Darpa's only response is that he thought she was a child. He doesn't say this out loud. He just thinks to himself that this is a child, that because of the fact he just sees infant Midna. They'll introduce her to the mayor, and one of Link's friends asks what happened to the old man who usually comes. They don't know that the realm of Twilight had been in chaos, Zant did not know about this place, and it was a very good thing he didn't. Otherwise, things could have gone very bad. But Link is actually kind of surprised. The city is almost exactly like it was. And they point out that for you, the familiar location disappeared. For us, the world around them changed. So they had an inverse reaction compared to Link. As when Link pulled the sword and they were pulled through, Hero of Time pulled Link out. Because having Link in the Realm of Twilight would have been a bad thing. Because he wouldn't have been able to do anything on this side. Midna meets with the mayor and apologizes that even though, yes, she did not know about this, she should have, as ruler, it was her responsibility. She left them isolated here. She could have provided them with aid, and they could have suffered a lot less than they have. And the mayor's only response is just, he doesn't blame her. He reveals that actually several citizens of the Realm of Twilight knew about this place and had been helping them. And says that without their help, they wouldn't have survived. Nina's only response is to say, "Come to my palace at any time. The people of Twilight will always welcome you." Basically, this is the first, steps towards, an actual, set of peace between the world of light and the Realm of Twilight. As these people have been living, these are citizens of the Realm of Light who have been living in the world of Twilight unaffected for several seasons at this point. The mayor also decides to ask Link, "Catch me up. What the fuck is going on in the Realm of Light?" And Link catches him up, giving him the whole story about Zant, the Demon King Ganondorf, and the mayor of the town reveals that he knew about the Demon King. That this has been something that's been passed down through his line, that the leaders have been telling them, we were established to observe the Arbiter's grounds in the deserts, and to keep an eye out for Ganondorf's return, because they were afraid he would show back up. The citizens bring up the fact that, isn't it strange that none of us knew? Why didn't anyone tell them? And, they actually start to get kind of pissed at the royal family. Which, very good questions, in all honesty. Midna's response is just simply, perhaps the monarch at the time wanted to completely erase all mention of the Demon King. The legend lived on, the people would still speak of him, and his influence would continue. The monarch may have feared that he tried to completely erase Ganondorf from living memory. And yeah, she points out the fact that, for a long time, the people of the world of light, up until this incident, acted like the Realm of Twilight did not exist. And Link's one response is, "I bet Princess Zelda could answer our question." And they're all surprised that Link met the princess and spoke to her directly. And he declares with no uncertain terms that he will help Princess Zelda. I will defeat Ganondorf and return peace to Hyrule. And everyone else there agrees that now is the time to fulfill their duty as a protective city, that they will stop Ganondorf together. Link stops them, shouting that no, they cannot challenge Ganondorf, that it is his responsibility, that Ganondorf cannot be beaten by a normal human. And the mayor says, "Aren't you a human too? Your words hint at something hidden." And he asks, "How are you different from us?" Which leads to Link revealing the mark of the Triforce of Courage, the fact that he is branded with the royal seal and that he is chosen by the gods. That he wields the Master Sword, the Sword of Evil's Bane. And then, yeah, this actually affects everyone. And one of them brings up the fact that why not have Link try to pull out the sword again? The last time he did this, it brought them to this world. So what would happen if he pulled out the sword within the Realm of Twilight? As Link kneels to pull the blade, DARPA actually says, "Give me a break. It cannot be that easy, because he's done so much to keep these people alive." Link kneels, and we get this beautiful imagery of the hero's shade overlapped on top of him, pulling out the sword with him. As he pulls it out, there's a great flash of light. We actually see a brief moment of the mirror of Twilight. We see the scenes that just happened, and with the desert sun overhead, the sword disappears, disintegrating in the wind. Link declaring they're back. They're back in the realm of light. Which actually angers DARPA because of the fact that everyone else is saying this is all thanks to Link. They're back thanks to Link. And he points out the fact that it is all his fault. He has sacrificed so much to keep them all safe in the realm of Twilight. And somehow, in an instant, Link undid everything. That he could almost like control everything. Why is his fate in his hands? What did that bringer of bad luck have? And he goes off on Link saying, like, you know, you're doing this disguise or content, and so we won't mess with your grand goals. And Link's only response to him is pointing out the fact that this symbol has toyed with him. He didn't want this. That this symbol is part of him, whether he likes it or not. But he's reconciled with that. He's crawled onward, shedding blood and tears, fighting. And that even he once had a simpler dream. But that's too late to go back. And he is going to Hyrule Castle to defeat Ganondorf. And as he turns and leaves, Ryoma, I think it's Ryoma, decides, no, I'm going with Link. DARPA tries to stop them, and Link screams. Oh, DARPA is just like, you know, don't stop. What are we going to do? And they're like, everyone else is like, no, we're knights. We trained to fight this. We are going to help Link. Even if they can't help him fight Ganondorf, there's going to be something else they can help with. And everyone sets off, including DARPA, screaming, I'll be damned if I'm not going to fight too. They are all going to fight together. And Midna tells Link, take them with you. Don't be stubborn. They're good companions. As they set off for Hyrule Castle, leading us into the final 2 volumes of Twilight Princess. Volumes 10 and 11 are Hyrule Castle and the Battle with Ganondorf. We are quickly approaching the end of this series, and it's been a long time coming, and I hope you all look forward to seeing the finale next week.